pleasure to be here with you this morning. I am a fundraiser. I am the VP of Marketing and Development at Union Rescue Mission, which is one of the largest missions serving the homeless community out in Los Angeles. We're right in the thick of it on Skid Row between 5th and 6th, so if you're ever out there, please come and see us. I want to share with you that as I was talking with our keynote speaker and we were kind of preparing for this day, I had an opportunity to really share from my heart with him and talk about what I was hoping that he would bring and share with all of you. I've been in fundraising for close to 20 years, and I've known our keynote speaker, Bill Kliewer, for almost that long. And most days, like I'm sure most of you would say, I love my job. I get a sense of accomplishment in my job. I feel called to my job, and I can see the difference that we're making in the lives of people that come into our mission as opposed to the lives of people that are in desperate need of help on the sidewalk right outside my window. And that inspires me and encourages me, and it's what I get up in the morning for, most days. On a few days, like I think many of you could relate to, I'm challenged. I am dog-tired. I may be frustrated by a board member or two or three, or a staff member or two or three. Just the goings-on of the day and the budget planning and the crunching and the things that are parts of our jobs that we have to do, but they're not really what gets us going. And that can get grueling and tiring, and we need to be inspired. And what I love about our keynote speaker is that he has been in this industry for almost 50 years. And he's as inspired and jazzed about what he does as the day that I met him. And that is just really cool. I want to be like him when I grow up. So Bill Kliewer has been walking alongside nonprofits like World Vision and Operation Smile and a whole bunch in between. He's worked with agencies on the team at Russ Reed. And at the end of the day, what he loves to do is come alongside an organization that's doing great work and just help them to do it better. And I can't think of a better person to come and share with us this morning, share from his heart, share how he's done it for as long as he's done it and maintained the spark in his eye and the spring in his step and the get-go that he still brings to the table every single day. So without further ado, I'd love to introduce my friend, Bill Kliewer.
Wow, I got to wake up all of a sudden. In fact, that reminds me, I don't know about these people in jail or what. I didn't hear about that because, see, I'm a night person, and so I don't know anything about this morning. Other than, well, let's start this way. How many of you know the morning-night thing? I mean, my wife is a morning person, I'm a night person. We've been married 53 years, though, so we must be doing okay with that difference. How many of you consider yourselves to be morning people? Just, okay, I'm gonna really embarrass you. Or no, I'm gonna make you feel good because you guys are so proud to be morning people, so stand up. Come on, stand up. Everybody that raised their hand, this is not a church service or anything like that, but I want all the morning people. Okay, I mean, you're rocking. Okay, so stay standing. Now look around and see the ones sitting down. I don't want to make any comparison. Okay, go ahead and sit down. I mean, I'm on West Coast time. I live in Pasadena, California, and I just got in, but this morning, for some reason, I had 3 different phone calls, kinds of things. The hotel phone to wake me up, and my iPhone, and then one of my colleagues, and somehow I woke up at 4:30, and I thought, I'm going to go down. The gym, the fitness center is probably not even open. I go down there, and I can't believe it. There are 10 to 15 guys down there. they look kind of wacky. They're all buff. They're not like the evening crowd that I am used to when I go to the gym. But anyway, what I plan on doing is try in the next few minutes to wake those of you up who are the night people. But I will tell you, morning people, we have a heck of a lot more fun than you do because we're up late. But be that as it may, thank you for showing up, you guys. That table was reserved for you, obviously. Well, thank you for the introduction, Jackie. And Linda, thank you for those words about the DMA and the importance of this group. And Jackie, I am inspired. I can't do anything about it. It's who I am. It's what I am. And I am just thrilled to be here. And I'll tell you why being here at this conference is so important to me. It starts with your theme, challenging the status quo for breakthrough fundraising. That is exactly what we're going to do this morning. And soon you will see the connection to the song that you heard when you came in, if you heard it, Dream, because that's what fundraising is really all about. It's about dreaming and having a vision. Okay, for starters, I've been coming to these conferences for years and years and decades. I remember my first one way back in the 80s. Yes, I am that old. And one thing hasn't changed, and hear me carefully on this. This is the best business in the world. I'm talking about fundraising. Throughout the remarks that I'm going to make, you're going to see that I really believe that with all my heart. And I really believe that you're in the best business in the world. All of you are helping to make this world a better place. People want to change the world, and you make it possible for them to do that. So be proud when you say, I am a fundraiser. I'm making this world a better place. Would you say that with me? I am a fundraiser. I'm making this world a better place. Well, that should make you feel good just saying that, and here's one reason. Money is the muscle for your mission, and you are raising money to change the world. I'm going to start with a confession. I spent the first 20 years of my fundraising career without a revelation that completely changed my life. And as I share this, I'm hoping it will impact your life too. I'm hoping that perhaps with this revelation, something will go on, perhaps a light bulb, whatever, and it will impact your fundraising career. I was in India doing a seminar on fundraising with our World Vision staff. I was meeting with program people, not marketers. You know the difference, right? I won't go any further than that. That's one of your issues, Jackie, at the mission. They were anti-fundraising because they thought fundraising was simply Western Madison Avenue propaganda. Heard that before? All of a sudden, a light bulb went off in my head. The words came out of my mouth. Fundraisers help people experience the joy of giving. I spent 20 years without that revelation. I thought fundraising was something I had to do. I finally realized I wasn't taking money from people. Instead, I was giving people the opportunity to change their life and the lives of others. That's the fundamental reason why we're here today. This concept changed my whole idea of fundraising, and studies have actually shown, hear me now, that giving makes people happier. Right? When you give, you're happy. You say thank you, and you've just given. You are the facilitators, and you can be the facilitator of that happiness. Well, today I want to get to our theme. I'm going to talk about bold breakthroughs and tenacious tweaking. What exactly am I talking about? I like to say that tenacious tweaking is a slow and steady stream of innovations and pushing the envelope. Tenacious tweaking requires persistent patience. You have to keep working the numbers and ideas. Tweaking is the sustainable actions to help a nonprofit experience predictable 10 to 15% growth each year. Yes, the tweaking might, hear this is really important. Tweaking might lead to a breakthrough, but that is not the purpose of tweaking. Tweaking hardly ever requires anyone to leave their comfort zone. It just goes on and on and on. Terribly important for that consistent 10 to 15% growth a year. However, bold breakthroughs, the theme of this conference, are the leaps that lead you to experience exponential growth. Very different from the tweaking side. There's risk, it's uncomfortable, but these are the opportunities that will take your organization to a whole new level of growth. Business boldness in this effort is absolutely required. You have to be bold. You have to be uncomfortable. You have to step out of your box. Here's the key. You don't know about the breakthrough until there's a breakthrough. That's the way it happens. You stay bold because you think this idea might work. It's not tweaking something, it's creating something. Creating something. And that something comes by connecting existing dots. And you can't be risk averse. I don't even like those words. We've heard them, but you can't be risk averse. Now, I realize that I'm, what do they say, preaching to the choir? We're all in this together. We're all of the same ilk. We've all done this. So a lot of what I'm telling you or sharing with you, you've heard it before, and you can tell them. So maybe it'll be just a reminder to many of us. All right. It takes boldness that will result in a breakthrough or a bomb. You've had your bombs and you've had your breakthroughs. That's what it takes. It happens. In fact, if you don't have any bombs, you probably haven't really worked hard to get a breakthrough. The breakthrough can create a doubling effect in your income. This is why breakthroughs don't happen very often. But when they do, they are the defining moments of your organization's growth. Notice I didn't say bold breakthroughs versus tenacious tweaking. Too many people think you have to choose. In fact, when I started working on and thinking about this message this morning, my first title was Bold Breakthroughs versus Tenacious Tweaking. And my light went on. I said, oh no, it ain't that. It's both and. All of you have experienced significant breakthroughs in fundraising, and you've experienced the rewards of tenaciously tweaking your fundraising materials. I heard Linda say the word data-driven. That is so fundamental to the success of tenacious tweaking, driving that data. I'm here because I know what has caused the bold breakthroughs in my career. The older you get, the more you can reflect and understand the why behind the what. You will recognize some of the breakthrough principles as they relate to your work. I want us to rediscover the why behind the what in creating breakthroughs, because the why drives the what. First and foremost, here we go, fasten your seatbelts. There is no element more important than to have a clear vision to fuel the fire of potential breakthroughs. And vision creates the results from tenacious tweaking. So what is your vision for your charity or agency? Do you have one? Not to worry if your answer is, I'm not sure, it isn't clear in my mind, it seems to be a number of things, or I absolutely have a vision and a dream. You'll know you have a vision. Now, here are just some ideas that will help you kind of evaluate where you really are about this thing called vision. You'll know you have a vision when you're able to lay out the big idea with power and emotion. And if you've been effective, your donors can tell others about your vision, but watch out for this vision predator. Ready? It is the scorn of our peers, probably more than anything else, that hinders our living outside the box. The fear of ridicule paralyzes us more effectively than flat-out opposition. How much good is left undone because of that fear? I'm able to put that up there and say that because that's where I've been in my career. The fear of ridicule when you step outside the box. Don't let that knock you down and keep you from going forward. So you better be sure that the vision you are chasing is worth the suffering, because there is a pain to gain ratio that you will experience. I've studied vision since I was in college, and the best reading I've done on vision is by the best-selling author Bruce Wilkinson. Vision is the driving force of a leader. Vision keeps you on the straight and narrow. Thinking back to what Jackie said about her job. It's vision, you guys. It is the laser force that helps you overcome all obstacles. It is what inspires people to follow you. It is what attracts donors to see a child the way they should be, not the way they are. Vision is what also energizes tenacious tweaking. Vision is what keeps the leader searching for the bold breakthrough, especially when the border bullies are stating all the reasons why it can't be done. Border bullies, you've got them in your organization, you've got them on your board, some of your friends. Just leave them alone. Go with those who are supporting you. I won't go any further with that one. I could get in trouble. Today, my vision and challenge is knowing that this year, 50,000 children will be left behind with untreated cleft lips and palates. Their lives are absolutely hopeless. We must close this gap. We closed the gap for polio, for smallpox, and beyond. We can do that. With a clear vision, you will also become passionate. Now, a few words about passion. And probably most of you in this room, if not all of you, have some level of passion. Here's some words about why that's so important. Passion is the fuel that provides you with energy and persistence. Passion is what makes the champion. Nothing great has ever happened without a sense of passion. As fundraisers, you must have the energy to keep going. You have to be persistent, and by the way, none of this can happen on autopilot. With passion, you'll be able to overcome the obstacles. Passion will help you focus on the critical few instead of the myriad of things that bombard you, right? Think of all those things that come at you all the time. The passion that comes from the vision keeps you going instead of going here and going there and always doing that firefighting. When the border bullies say it can't be done, you'll say, watch me. When they say, we've never done it that way before, you'll say, watch me. Passion will help you move out of your comfort zone and stay there. I was only a few days into my first fundraising job when a friend came to me and asked if he could get some of our appeal letters and copy them. I went to my boss. I was just a kid in my 20s. Sorry if some of you are in your 20s, but I mean, you know, when you get my age, you can say things like that and get by with it. So I went to my boss and asked him what I should do. He simply said, and here's the quote, "You tell your friend that everything we have is copyrighted, and he better copy it right." I was blown away. I mean, I thought, you know, copying our stuff? Well, I put that quote up on the screen so you can copy it right. This needs to be one of the most important principles in our industry. That was a huge breakthrough for us at that time in World Vision, to learn the importance of copying it right. When I started in this business, every appeal letter began with "Dear friend." There was an address sticker on the envelope. Some of you might remember that drill. Well, one day our data processing guy came to me. Yes, we call it data processing. And he showed me a computer-produced letter from a car dealer. He said, "Bill, I think we can copy this approach. We have all the technical stuff to copy this letter." Well, I wrote that first computer-produced letter for World Vision. I remember it clearly. All we did was personalize the opening, "Dear Mrs. Jones," Mrs. Smith, whatever. And our response doubled. Trust me, it wasn't my writing. Of course, it was the person's name up front. But my point is, that was a bold breakthrough. Why did that happen? Another very important concept here, because our computer guy knew we weren't risk averse, we were into growth, and we wanted to copy what was working out there in the business world. So your leadership attitude is fundamental to your organizational success. You've got to let your people know that you are open to their ideas. Then the tenacious tweaking began with that direct mail process. We started including the amount of the donor's latest gift, the person's interest, and on and on. Those same principles apply to all channels today, and you use them. You know about all this. Well, a couple of years later from that mail experience, my good friend Russ Reed, yep, there is a Russ Reed, he came to us with an idea. He said, "What if we did a TV show and asked people to support us?" I remember our president in that bold meeting said to Russ, "Russ, what will happen if it bombs?" Without batting an eye, Russ said, "You will have the most expensive church film ever produced." Well, the rest is history. I traveled with Art Linkletter to Korea, Hong Kong, and Vietnam, held his cue cards, and we filmed our first TV show called Children of Zero. Some of you are old enough to recognize the name Art Linkletter, and some of you are not. I understand that. Well, he was the Ryan Seacrest or whatever of his time. Well, that major breakthrough got us into TV and revolutionized our fundraising efforts. It changed everything. I'm telling you, it changed everything at World Vision. And as a fundraising leader, you must not be risk averse. We took a risk. That was a huge risk. But we did know that others were doing it through commercial enterprises and whatnot. I still remember our first call-in TV show. Up until then, people had to write in with their donations. I still remember it. Box O, Pasadena, California. That's all they had to put on their letter, and it got to us. Well, we set up 50 phones with the operators backstage at a TV station in LA. You bet I was nervous. Would anybody call? 5 minutes into the show, the number went up on the screen and bam, 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 just like that. All 50 red lights went on all 50 phones, and we were in business with another breakthrough. I was so happy. The key was making it easy for viewers to respond instantly, and today they are still calling, and they're writing and going online. The channels are more diverse, the metrics are different, but the methodology is exactly the same. Here it is. Try, test, test again, roll out, and retest. Right? When I joined World Vision, we had 18,000 child sponsors, $4 million annual revenue, and today we have at World Vision more than 5 million children sponsored all over the world, and almost $3 billion, that's a B, billion dollars in global annual donations. Why did that happen? Because of people like you. Hear me, you guys. It happened. Yes, we have great program and great stuff going out there. You have to have that to have integrity. But it never would have happened without the marketing expertise and the tenacious work of people like you. Our strong advertising created a global awareness which has been more effective than any PR campaign. Our donors were now expecting us to be there when disaster hit, and we had no emergency response capability. So with little preparation, way before dotting every I and crossing every T, I found myself on a plane responding to a huge earthquake in Mexico City. And by the way, when I saw that slide as we were preparing, I thought, that's amazing. That's it. I remember standing there and seeing that building or a building just like that. And it brought back, of course, all those, in a way, horrible memories. We didn't have anybody on the ground, so we partnered. Very important principle here, by the way. So we partnered with a local Mexican organization, raised money here in the U.S., sent it to them, and the rest is history. Launching an effective emergency response mission created one of the biggest growth spurts in the history of World Vision. As I reflect on my career, I have been obsessed with the idea of growth. That is my source of energy. That's my vision. That's my passion. It's about growth. When the Operation Smile Board asked me to come and help them for a year, I was thrilled to help kids who needed a surgery. However, I have been even more motivated to help grow the organization to a new level of revenue. And that is the way I show my care for kids in need. It's a rough road to experience breakthroughs. This will sound familiar. You might face a CEO who is risk averse, a board member who thinks they are a marketing guru. And I'm sure you've had to deal with a risk-averse CFO. I'm sorry if any of you are here in the audience, but let me say this. Hang on. That's a legitimate challenge, and their roles are needed. However, it is your job as a marketer to take the organization to another level. You will never get there if you think the same way as your colleagues. You must keep telling yourself, I have to do it for this reason. As a fundraising leader, you must be driven by what you want to see happen, not what is happening. Well, I've also had the privilege to live and travel around the world on behalf of the poor. I'm old enough to have been in the Vietnam War helping kids in the crossfire. I launched the work in Bangladesh when 500,000 people died in just a few days from a cyclone. I was living in Hong Kong at the time. I remember getting the phone call from our president. He said, Bill, you got to go to, in those days it was East Pakistan, Dhaka. And I didn't even know where it was. I had to look on a map to figure out where I was supposed to go, went there, and that launched all the work of World Vision. Perhaps my greatest moment of sorrow, though, was in Ethiopia in the mid-'80s when 5,000 people were dying every day from starvation. I remember when I saw that picture, remembered the feeling it was to feel, in a sense, so hopeless because of all these people dying around me. The picture of me in our feeding camp brings back all those memories, and it was during that famine I had an audacious birth of a vision. So here's another principle. How does a vision get to be birthed? My vision was that we could green Africa. I didn't feel it was acceptable to think anything less. But here's the problem. With a huge vision, there are never enough resources available to make that vision come to pass. You have to pull out all of the stops in many new ways. For example, during that famine crisis, you'll recognize this principle, we allowed our overhead to go up so we had more money to raise more money. Think about going to the board of directors with that kind of an idea? Very tough. But we almost tripled the size of our organization within that period of time. And that vision eventually brought reporters to our feeding camps, grabbed the hearts of people like Bob Geldof, that led to We Are the World. People said we were crazy. That never stopped us. This is the Ansokia Valley in 1984, a dust bowl of sand and death in Ethiopia. This is the Ansokia Valley today. Why the transformation? Because we inspired people to feel the joy of giving, and their donations bought the trees that created that transformation. Find the thing that drives you, focus on it, and keep going. I just want to remind you once again, have wonderful program work with the greatest of integrity. But the growth comes because of you all here in the room today. That's the bottom line. I was in the Philippines with our film crew and climbed into a tiny nipa hut. Perhaps this is one of the most defining moments of my whole career. It was in that nipa hut where I met 19-year-old Mrs. Picasso and her 4 children. Through an interpreter, we exchanged greetings. Then in my typical Western vocabulary, I asked her what her dreams were for her children. She seemed confused. The interpreter said she didn't understand the question. So I rephrased the question. She was still confused. Then I looked around the little one-room hut and realized there was no food, no beds, no utensils. So I tried again, and this time I said, "What do you need for today?" Quickly, she responded and said, "I hope and pray that my husband will come home tonight with some food so we can eat." I gave her a few pesos, but more importantly, our TV show worked so that when I returned to that village called Sanili, 3 years later, the Picasso family and the whole village was thriving. As a fundraising leader, never ever get too far from the reality of your mission. when your heart is moved, you will move the hearts of others. Well, now back for a moment to our theme of bold breakthroughs. And excuse me for going kind of slow there, but that's what we do. That's our work. I'll be fine. I'm an emotional creep. So. Okay. Well, Paul Shoemaker, in his article that appeared in Inc. magazine, deals with the how-to of strategic thinking and breakthroughs. Number one, 3 very important quick principles. Number one, look for game-changing information at the periphery of your industry. Bold breakthroughs are distant from the day-to-day. Number 2, search beyond the current boundaries of your business. You can't search there unless you position yourself there. So you've got to get out of your box and get ready to feel uncomfortable. Number 3, build wide external networks to help you scan the horizon better. Most significant breakthroughs come from ideas outside your day-to-day organization. Inside, you better be steering the ship, or make sure that somebody is steering the ship. So, listen to and pay attention to your ad agency. I'm speaking obviously to the nonprofits here. Treat them as peers and not vendors. And be aware of inside R&D committees. Sounds good, but they hardly ever produce. Agency people here today, I challenge you to take full responsibility for bringing innovation to your clients. They need your partnership. Nonprofits here today, please don't ever call your agency a vendor. I hate that word. They don't sell vending machines. They sell ideas and growth and possibilities. They are the smartest people to believe in. Most of the greatest ideas and most of the tweaking, most of the new messaging at World Vision and Operation Smile have come as a result of being with our agency. They always challenge our thinking. Be sure to have an agency partner with experience and a proven track record. They must have depth and breadth. You need a partner that can deliver the results. I forgot that's what the slide that was going to go up. You guys are so funny. And finally, and this is this is an interesting principle, but it's terribly important. And you must have the right chemistry to do great things together. Not very measurable, but you got to have the right chemistry. In my whole career, most of the breakthroughs didn't come out of the air. So here's one of the most important principles you will hear from me this morning or at any time. The key to extraordinary success is doing what's never been done before in a proven way. This principle states that there is nothing really new. Instead, it is the connection of dots that were already successful in and of themselves. So if you think about some of your bold breakthroughs, all you did was connect that successful dot with this one, and this, put them together in a different way, cuts down your risk, and you can get a breakthrough that way. Here are some examples of those dot connections. One of the biggest breakthroughs for World Vision in the last 10 years has been the holiday gift catalog. I deliberately wanted to share that one because many of you use the catalog. You can't sell goats, sheep, and chickens in the mail or on TV. Don't try. It doesn't work. But what if we modeled our catalog on best catalog principles? So we went to the field and got the best resource, and we saw another nonprofit leader that had been doing it for years. By the way, we commend Heifer International for bringing this idea to the industry. They were a great example for all of us. It's hard to imagine the lives that have been changed because you looked at something and doing it in a different way. To create a major breakthrough, take existing successful dots and reconnect them. For years, the most effective transformation program for World Vision was providing small loans to struggling families. We couldn't sell it in the mail, no chance on TV, and it didn't work in the catalog. Very complicated kind of thing to think about, loans and payback and how they do this and that. I mean, very different from the typical kind of direct response. But it's really a big answer to economic development. So we had to figure out a way to make it work. So World Vision launched a fully online experience for the donors called World Vision Macro. Donors can connect with individual families in the field, choose their family, provide loans that start at only $45. You can meet the family online, see their business funding they need, and give them a small loan. And it's interesting. The average loan is now $631, and more than 3.5 million loans have been provided with over a 97% repayment. Pretty good, huh? With this platform, you can experience the joy of giving with one click of a mouse and see how your loan goes into action and is repaid. Well, my most recent experience at Operation Smile was to realize that for 20 years, they had been a smaller organization. We had an emotional story to tell. So way before my time, they took a calculated risk to test direct response TV. We decided to test something outrageous. In addition to the $20 a month offer, we tested a $240 offer to fund a single surgery. $240, single gift? Really? Of course you can't ask for $240 as a first gift on TV, right? Right, Kyla? It's wrong. Yes. You can make that work. Under the strong leadership of some of my colleagues who are here today, including Kyla Sharier, we took the donors to a mission experience, and it worked through our TV product. The power of storytelling has propelled the growth of Operation Smile here and around the world. Most, if not all, of the significant breakthroughs happens when a leader stands in a place where they can see beyond the forest to the hills in the distance and then start the climb. Now think with me for a moment about the bold breakthroughs that have happened in your career. There are just a handful at the most. Breakthroughs only happen every few years, if you are bold. What was your bold breakthrough? Let's just stop for a moment. Think back. Maybe you have to go back many years or just a few years or the last few months ago. What was that bold breakthrough? And then take a moment and think, how did it happen? Why did it happen? What did it take? Well, one of the greatest breakthroughs for World Vision, and this is one that I in some ways I love the most, or equal to all of them, I guess, was to take fundraising around the world. Could we take the same fundraising strategies? Now, some of you are thinking about this, and some of you are doing it. So in the next minute, you're going to hear years and years of my failures and a few successes in doing this. Could we take the same fundraising strategies that were working in North America, Australia, Canada, and make them work in Latin America and Asia? I had the privilege to pioneer that vision for World Vision, and do I ever remember the people who said, sorry, we can't fundraise like that in our country. Our people are different. Friends, more money has been wasted because we have allowed people to start fundraising with an empty yellow pad, or in these days, a blank iPad. You take the same direct response principles and adapt them globally, period. Yes, there will be some cultural adaptations, but the basic direct response principles apply. For Operation Smile, we are using a variation of our control package in Japan, Italy, and Sweden. Here's the Italian version. And our TV spots are working everywhere. Why? Because people everywhere want to experience the joy of giving. Thank them again and again. Retention is all about giving joy to people. All right, we're drawing this session to a close. Here are the fundamental principles I have shared. I'm going to give them real quickly here. Number one, vision is an absolute necessity to your success. Number two, passion will give you the fuel to dream, discover, develop, and deliver the goods. Yep, that's the 4D formula. Number three, bold breakthroughs will happen from the pursuit of your vision. Tenacious tweaking, number four, will be sustained by your passion. Number five, the key to extraordinary success is doing what's never been done before in a proven way. Number six, everything out there has been copyrighted, so copy it right. And finally, our job is to create the joy of giving. Here's the closing thought. Most of you have been fundraisers for a long time. Now think with me for a moment and visualize the thousands and perhaps millions of people who have heard your stories and shared your stories. Think about the lives you've changed. Not what I've done with my career and all that. Think about what you have done. Imagine a stadium filled with those faces. You guys, you have no idea how big that stadium or a multitude of stadiums would have to be to hold the children and families whose lives you have changed and made so much better. You've helped countless people experience the joy of giving. You have impacted hundreds of thousands of lives, but there is so much more to do. And it's you, the fundraisers, the communicators, who will continue changing the world. Keep doing it. I've been doing it for 50 years, and I can tell you, you can too. Thank you very much.
I think we should give Bill another round of applause. That was all inspiring and thought-provoking.